Good morning from Panhandle Outdoors, America's only daily outdoor TV show. Your source for fishing, hunting, and information for folks who enjoy the great outdoors. Now sit back, relax. It's Panhandle Outdoors.
Good morning, folks. Welcome to Panhandle Outdoors. I'm Winston Chester. I'm glad you're here this morning. Got a big show lined up, a special guest here. But first, let's take a look at our weather brought to us by Gulf Coast Air Conditioning, Drew Pollard, and a hard-working crew taking care of our everyday comfort needs. And looks like another comfortable day. We're looking at a high right at 84 and low 76. Water temperature 81.2, and we're going to track down this water temperature and sort of get more information on it later, how it just shot up that fast, but that sort of has me fascinated. Our river reading is brought to us by Panama City Coca-Cola. Good folks down there. We're looking at the Apalachicola at Bluntstown. It's a 6.1. Got a little fall into it right there, and then the Choctaw Caribbean are nice and level. It's reading a 3.5 this morning. Our tide chart brought to us by Kent Forest Lawn. Decent tide today. We're looking at 6:27 low tide, and the high tide this morning. Okay, then low tide is going out. Low tide will be this afternoon at about 4:50. But look at those tides for Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Strongest tides of the month. So keep that in mind. Wind direction be coming out of south at about 14 this morning and this afternoon. So be aware of that. Good breeze there. I'm going to take a break. Come back with our special guest. Okay, welcome back, folks, and welcome to our special guest this morning, Dr. Joseph Perrell. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. I'm glad to be here.
We're glad to have him. We go way, way back. He's a retired surgeon now, but he's a consummate outdoorsman, loves the outdoors, and I mentioned to you about 2 weeks ago, was up there at that quail dinner we had, and he came up there and brought some information for the quail hunters and the dogs. We're going to get to that later on, but let's find out a little bit about Dr. Perrell. Like I said, I've known him a very long time, and so tell the folks a little bit about yourself.
Well, I've been retired now for about 5 years. I was head and neck surgeon here for 39 years and enjoyed every minute of it. And my daughter has come back with my three grandchildren here now from Atlanta, and so we're a happy family.
Wow! And you were telling me you got your degree at University of Texas.
My medical degree from the University of Texas. I interned at the University of Florida, and then went out to UCLA to do my head and neck surgery specialty.
And you saw an outdoorsman when you're in Florida, saw an outdoorsman do like a cooking show. And he was cooking some fish in Panama City, and that's why you decided, because you love scuba diving. Is that how you moved down here?
Pretty much so, yeah. Well, I flew out here by myself, and I was going to look at Pensacola, and they made a stop here. And as I was coming down, I saw these beautiful bays and bayous. I said, holy mackerel, let me off here. So that's true.
That's a good story.
And I did, and there was just Bay Medical was the only hospital we had back then.
Yeah.
And I went knocking on the door, and they said, well, why don't you come on in? We're having our monthly meeting here of all the doctors. And they introduced me, and they took me around, and then later Phil Cotton took me back up on an airplane there and showed me this area again, and I was hooked. So I called I got back home to Santa Monica, California, and told my wife about it, and she said, I'll give you a choice. Either we go to Pensacola or we go to Panama City. That's it. and she came out here, and Phil Cotton took her up in the airplane too. And
that was it?
That was it.
How about that? And you said you met her in Texas, you met her on an elevator, or what?
Yeah, I met her going up in the elevator.
That's cool. You've been married 50 years?
50 years.
That's an awesome story. And you were telling me you have three loves you love to scuba dive, you love to bow hunt.
Yeah.
And
snow skiing.
Snow skiing. Those three outdoor activities you've always been very active in. As a bow hunter, I guess you're a trophy. You said you have a brother in Montana?
Yeah, one of my brothers lives in Montana. He's a veterinarian, and and we'd go out there. One of my other brothers, I've got 3 brothers, and would come and we would elk hunt with bows, strictly with bows, for many years. And about 5 years ago, I killed a 6x6 beautiful elk. And it was so big we couldn't take it back here. So my brother, the veterinarian, put the mount up in his office, and he claims that
Well, you have to get some pictures and send them to us so we have some proof of it too. I know, but
Okay.
you got it with your bow, huh?
Yeah.
And you were one of the
30 yards.
early bow hunters. I know. I remember you hunted with Bob Hunt, who coached Bob Hunt. We started coaching together in the '70s at Mosley, and you became friends. Y'all became friends, and he hunted. So that was back in the '70s and '80s. You've been bow hunting
he
since
was
then.
one of my first.
One of your first friends down here.
Yeah.
And you love to scuba dive.
Oh yeah. One of my favorites, but I've had some injuries, so that's off the.
Well, yeah, we're going to get we're going to take a break in a minute, but we're going to get to he's had an accident and an injury, so he sort of curtailed some of his activities. But now I know you love your dogs. We're going to talk about those dogs.
Okay.
It was just special. I want to say this one more time because I said it 3 or 4 times. I told all kinds of people about it. For you to take the time, come all the way up there to Brunstown, and then take this handout right here and give it to fellow hunters, so they would maybe their dogs would not have the same would be caught up in the same situation. That was just something nice for you to do.
Thank you.
And people grateful of it.
I enjoyed it. I felt I really loved that dog, and I felt like I owed it to him, and that's just my way of saying, I'm sorry I couldn't make your diagnosis soon enough.
Yeah, and this is amazing. And your farm, you've always had a farm up there around Caryville?
For 42 years.
42 years at that farm. I love it. And you managed it pretty well. You've had deer in and out of there over the years, and
deer and turkeys and hogs come in and out, and it's not what it used to be, but it's still pretty good. Once they stopped crop farming there and planted pines, the deer population thinned out.
Yeah, we'll talk about that a lot. Okay, we're going to take a quick break, come back with all kind of stuff here with Dr. Joseph Burrell. We'll be right back. Okay, welcome back. Sitting here with Dr. Joseph Burrell, a fellow outdoorsman, loves outdoors, and has some great experiences in outdoors. And I know one of his experiences was not so pleasant. And this is how he ended up being on the show. We started talking about it, invited him to come on and share this with us, and maybe it can help some of us aboard. So tell us a story about your dogs.
Well, I've been raising German short-hair pointers since I was 18 years old, and continuously I've had them. And I was out in riding my four-wheeler up at my farm near Caryville about 4 years ago, and my dog was following along beside me and weaving back and forth through the weeds. And all of a sudden I heard him yelp, and I'd never heard him yelp like that before. It was like you stepped hard on his foot. And I called him, and I didn't know what happened. I thought maybe something an animal had attacked him or something. Anyway, he came back, and he was wagging his tail like nothing happened. So I looked him over a little bit, but not real close. And so we finished our walk that morning, and we went back to my little cabin on the farm. And then when I went out to take him out for his evening walk, I noticed that he was slowing down, and he was only 2 years old, so he had a lot of energy, and I couldn't figure it out. And as we went along, he started slowing down and finally stopped and wouldn't go any further. And I got off the four-wheeler and went over to him and checked him over closely. And when I tried to pet him in his groin area on one side, he yelped like crazy and tried to bite me, which was not his nature. And I knew something was wrong, and I thought, well, he must have just fallen and hurt his leg. So I took him back to the cabin, carried him back, and he just stood there all through the night and was whimpering the whole time in misery. And it was a Saturday night in February, and I know I couldn't get to a vet that early, and I was still thinking it was an injury to his leg from falling or something. And about 4 o'clock in the morning, I got up to pet him and try and calm him down a little bit more. And when I checked him over, his whole abdomen was swollen badly, and I'd say his testicle was as big as my fist. But it was the whole area was swollen, and I knew I was in deep trouble, but I couldn't get at a vet that time of the morning in February. So I tried to calm him down and went back to my bed and got up at 7 in the morning to take him to the vet, and found him lying dead on his bed. So that was the end of him. And the thing that made me not think of, right then I knew it was a snake, but the thing I hadn't known about before.
Was just when it made that yelp noise and then made a short noise.
Yeah, I didn't understand what was going on, and I lost him. I wanted to mention, when he had been a year and a half old, he got bit by a moccasin right near my cabin, and I saw this happen. And I immediately had taken him to the vet, and they gave him the antivac, and he was just fine. So I thought, once they're bit like that, they're not going to let that happen again.
Natural immunity.
But it didn't happen.
That's interesting.
And so that was the end of him. I loved that dog. He was my best friend. And I talked to the breeder, and I said, please get me another one from the same parents, because this dog, I never had to train the dog. I always trained all my dogs. This dog came trained at 8 weeks. And the first time I threw a ball out, he fetched it. The second time I threw it a distance, and he pointed it. And that was that.
All right, we've got a couple of pictures here, and we'll go in relation to the story. So here we go right here. Of course, this is the big rattlesnake, and a lot of times you hear them rattling, but this, you never knew what it was.
This was on Shell Island. That's right on the beach, and there was nothing around there. I don't know what he was doing there.
There's some big snakes on Shell Island.
Yeah, this one wasn't as big as some of them, but he was big enough. And let me get his picture.
So tell us about the dogs.
Well, the one on the right was a Buddy, and then the other one is an older dog. I usually kept 2 dogs. And they were the best house pets you could have. Just wonderful dogs. This is when, if you look at his cheek, you'll see him. That's when the moccasin got him.
Okay.
And I, was able to save him from that.
Wow. All swollen up there.
Yeah.
You can tell it's swollen up.
Wow. And this is him hunting with my son-in-law's.
Man, that's a beautiful picture of the Florida Panhandle. Look at the open trees and all. And those German Shorthairs, they're just smart dogs, aren't they?
They are smart and wonderful pets.
Look at that.
Just wonderful.
I've had one.
That was in Pointing Quail.
Look at that.
That's on my farm.
And you've got it all set up too, and you got the collar and all, and those are some great pictures. Let's see, you got another one here.
There he is with a bunch of quail.
Quail.
He's so proud of himself.
Yeah, look what I did.
He was hunting alone that day.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
Okay. Bringing it back to you.
A bird.
Yeah, some great pictures here.
Yeah. That's a moccasin I found along the bank of one of my ponds on the farm. And of course he didn't make it. And this is him. Watch him do he shakes. Now hang on. He gets a little treat.
All right, gets a treat. He's happy. Look at there.
There he goes around and around.
Oh, yeah.
Now watch this one. Okay.
Look at there, rolling over. What a smart dog.
Now that's my present dog.
Okay.
But the other one used to do those tricks too.
Okay.
And
let's see, right here.
now that's may
The bite area, where's the
but the arrow is right where the bite was, right at his
right
groin. But you can see there was no bleeding. There's not any swelling or anything. This was my second dog. Who I still have, and his name is Laddie. And this was, if you touched that area, he would go berserk. But this was very early on, and because of my experience with my previous dog, all of a sudden, you know, I knew what to do immediately and got him to the vet, and he survived very well, and he's still sleeping in my bed.
And that's a lesson learned the hard way, but this is what we want to relate to all of our friends with dogs. When you hear that sudden yelp, you know something has happened.
Yep, you better check it out close.
Yeah. Okay, we're going to take our final break. We'll be right back with Dr. Joseph Burrell. Glad you're with us this morning. We're here with Dr. Joseph Burrell. Let's take a look at our fishing game times today, brought to us by Blue Water Outriggers in Port St. Joe. Our time, 12:10 to 2:10. And that's an important time right here in the middle of the day because it's going to be a good breeze today. Dr. Burrell's here sharing some of his experiences here with the dogs, and you'll talk about a couple other signs. We'll talk about different things about if you're not sure they've been snake bitten. It's just not hunters. A lot of folks just take the dogs out walking in the woods. So what are some other signs that you saw?
Well, the rest of the story on that was my second dog, Laddie, who's still my best buddy. He got bit, but he never yelped. And but when I got to him, I noticed that he was shivering like crazy, and he had his back hunched up, and wouldn't go anywhere. And I went over him, and the thing that really hit me was this same area, almost identical to the last dog, was where this dog had been bitten as well, and he tried to bite me as well. And so immediately I knew, putting all that stuff together, that he had been bitten, even though he had never yelped, and there was no swelling that early. But I got him to the vet, and it took about 2 weeks, but with the antivenom, he's doing just fine.
A good ending to that story.
Yes.
Okay, you mentioned earlier, we're going to move on to another subject now, all the outdoor things you love. You sort of had to slow down a little bit because of an accident. And I was not aware of this accident. I asked him to share it with us before the show, and he actually had some pictures of it. So tell us a little bit about the accident you had, because it means a lot to all of us.
Yeah. Well, tractors are pretty dangerous, and especially if you're not thinking them well. And I found a big log laying down in one of my fields that I needed to move, and it was about 30, 40 feet long. And so I wedged it between two big trees that were standing, and then got out on this end here and tried to break it in half. And it didn't break in half, it sprung out of that and whacked me in the chest really hard. Ended up being taken to the emergency room. The first hospital, Gulf Coast, said, well, we can't take care of this problem, it's too big. So they sent me down to Bay, and I spent 3 days in the ICU there.
Broke a couple of ribs?
Well, it broke 6 ribs on one side, 2 on the other side. And it lacerated my liver and my spleen. Fortunately, they never had to open me up because by the time I got down there, it stopped bleeding. So I got lucky with that, but it took over a year to get over the injury.
I took the pictures off his phone. So here's a picture actually of the tractor. So this is the tree. And he was sitting on the tractor. Wow. And here's the other picture. Look at that, folks. You just never know I understand exactly what you were doing. You were trying to get a tree, that old dead tree down, and it just sort of sprung back at you, didn't it?
It did.
Wow.
Big time.
Wow. So that slowed you down a little bit, but you're still going to do some things, right?
Well, I'm working on it. I've had a couple other injuries since that time. I'm slowed down quite a bit.
Well, one thing too, we talked about, you brought up a good point, and they told you you probably would have lost your life if you hadn't been in pretty good shape.
Yeah.
You do a lot of things physically and all, and take care of yourself.
I was an All-American college swimmer.
That's right.
And so I swim 3 days a week out at Frank Brown Park, beautiful pool, and they take good care of it. So that's.
Are you still able to swim? Are you still?
No, I can't. I can't now because I got another problem.
Okay, so anyway, one thing, something else, but that's another testimonial. And you get out in the woods too about walking around, and you were good about being active outdoors.
Yeah, and I'm still trying to get out and walk the dog every day.
I love the stories you brought up. How you ended up in Panama City, and it's amazing how those stories. And it's spent your lifetime here.
Yeah.
And your daughter's come back. You got 3 grandkids here, and married 50+ years. So a great story. And as a surgeon, you're looking back, how many patients you think you ever think about having a patient you had over all the years?
A lot. I have no idea. And so many times I meet them in a grocery store or something like that, and I may or may not remember them, but they remember me. It really makes me feel good. Cause
they say, "You cut on me, doctor," or something. You cut me or something.
Yeah, once in a while I get that.
Yeah, but that I know you've had a lot of folks out. Fortunately, I got to know you when you were young, and you were pretty active. You put a lot of hours in. I remember talking to you one time. And you were working, at one time you were the only one doing that for a while when you first got here. You were doing a lot of operations and all that, setting these bones and all.
Yeah, it was pretty busy.
Well,
it was fun, and I miss the patients more than anything. They were really, they were good to me, and I tried to be good to them.
Yeah, we had a good reputation. We appreciate all the service you did in our Panhandle area. We're going to have to wrap it up. I tell you, it's going to be a good show, and we appreciate you coming on. And you learned something about dogs, snake bites and all, and also about being safe on those tractors. And I'm bad about it too, so we just got to slow down those things. So, and a fellow outdoorsman, all the outdoor things he's done, and that big old elk out there. He said, "That's in your brother's office out there, huh?" So
and he takes credit for it.
we got to maybe get that thing down here for you. But I appreciate you coming on.
I appreciate being here. Go Gators. I was on the faculty at the University of Florida for 26 years.
How long?
26 years.
Awesome. That's awesome. Okay. Thanks for coming on. Appreciate y'all watching Panhandle Outdoors. It's amazing some of the guests we have. They're great guests we have here. We appreciate them coming on. Do something good today for your fellow man. Enjoy the great outdoors. Take care of it, and God bless.
Thanks for watching America's only daily outdoor TV show, Panhandle Outdoors with Winston Chester, featuring hunting, fishing, and other activities and information to help you enjoy the great outdoors. Join us next time for Panhandle Outdoors.